Are you worried that the person you're dating might be a narcissist? And if they are, why is it so toxic and dangerous? Stay tuned, because in this video you will learn why dating a narcissist is so emotionally dangerous and how to spot the earliest warning signs so you can avoid the devastation associated with being in this toxic relationship. So don't go anywhere, because we're starting in 4 seconds. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Antonio Borrello. Welcome to another video. I'm a psychologist and relationship coach, and I make weekly dating and relationship advice videos. This channel is all about helping you build great relationships so you can grow happy with the people you love. So if you're interested in making your love life the best part of your life, start now by clicking the subscribe button and the bell notification so you aren't missing anything. Okay, on to the signs you're in a relationship with a narcissist. First, what is a narcissist? The term narcissist is used to characterize a person who is overly self-involved or excessively in love with themselves. But narcissistic personality disorder is much more than an overinflated ego. To quickly summarize, narcissistic personality disorder is a collection of maladaptive behavioral patterns that are very different from what is accepted socially. These chronic symptoms cause significant and serious personal, social, and occupational problems for themselves and anyone that's involved with them. Narcissists can be dangerously manipulative, exploitative, and abusive. And a pathological narcissist engages in extreme forms of most of these behaviors while remaining unaware and unconcerned with the effect of their actions on others. So what are the problems associated with being in a relationship with a narcissist? Well, there are 3 big ones. Narcissists will exploit you. That means they'll do whatever it takes to feel special at a cost to those around them. They're capable of doing anything necessary to get ahead, to stand out, including hurting other people. An extreme narcissist may suffer from incredible withdrawal periods of anger and sadness and hurt and shame until they get their next dose of attention. If feeling special means taking credit for someone else's work, so be it. If they have to criticize other people to feel superior, even if it means throwing you under the bus, they will. In essence, this means that their self-esteem enhancement is ultimately more important to them than you could ever be. And when their self-esteem dips, they become grandiose and insist that they are special, perfect, and omnipotent, while devaluing other people as inferior to them. So as the closest person to them, they are likely to devalue you in order to feel more important again. Number 2, they feel an extreme sense of entitlement. Narcissists act as if the world owes them and should bend to their will. The narcissist feels completely entitled to disrupt and in some cases destroy the lives of others so that his needs and desires are met. And along with extreme self-entitlement is an unrelenting ruthlessness. If you're between a narcissist and his goal, even if you're his spouse or child, be prepared for this person to overrun you to get where he deserves to be. And number 3 is empathy impairments. Narcissists lack emotional empathy. A lack of emotional empathy means that narcissists do not feel bad when they hurt you. They might not even notice your reaction, and if they do, they're highly unlikely to care. And if you complain, they will deny responsibility and say, you're too sensitive, or they'll blame you and say that if you weren't so stupid, I wouldn't have to correct you so often. Besides a complete lack of empathy, narcissists rarely apologize because they find it too humiliating to accept blame, even when they clearly know that they were wrong. Okay, so now that you know why narcissistic relationships are so bad, many of you are probably thinking, it won't happen to me. I'd never allow anyone to control me or engage in abusive behavior. Of course, no one would ever knowingly dive into an abusive relationship with a narcissist. The problem is that they don't start out as abusive. In the beginning, narcissists are charismatic and attentive and committed. They're like real-life Prince Charmings. These relationships often begin as incredibly intense and passionate love affairs. And a narcissist will work to make you feel so appreciated and loved, you won't even know he's controlling you as you relinquish your life an inch at a time while becoming more and more entrenched in the relationship. In other words, they hold themselves back until they gain their partner's trust and love. And it works. Yes, the intense and passionate start of a narcissistic relationship makes symptoms difficult to recognize. But there are early warning signs and red flags that can protect you before you're too emotionally involved. And here are 6 of the earliest signs. Number 1, idealization, or placing people on pedestals. Narcissists often elevate their new partners to unrealistic levels and place them on a pedestal. And this allows them to feel special by association. And their belief is, I must be pretty amazing if she's with me. This idealization or love bombing is one of the more difficult warning signs to accept, because the narcissist may claim that you're perfect for each other, that it was love at first sight, that you're soulmates, and other romantic sounding things. Unfortunately, the desirability of this behavior gives controlling narcissists the best opportunity to gain total control over the other partner's schedule and life. Number 2, smear campaigns against prior lovers during your honeymoon period. In an abusive relationship, the honeymoon period is the illusionary calm before the storm. The narcissist holds themselves back until they gain their partner's trust and love. They're on their best behavior, which makes seeing their true colors much more difficult. Still, they are often more than willing to discuss their past relationships, which can give you valuable insight and possible warning signs. When talking about their history, narcissists often describe past lovers as unstable and crazy and/or abusive. In addition, narcissists may even explain the smear campaign they waged against their former lover at the end of the relationship. Pay attention to how they talk about other relationships. You'll be surprised at what you can learn. Number 3, they exert narcissistic control and imposed isolation. Narcissists have a constant need to remain in control and stay in charge, because when they are not, they may have to depend on another person to get what they want. And they can't stand to be at the mercy of other people's preferences. It reminds them that they aren't invulnerable or completely independent, and that they might have to ask for what they want. And even worse, people may not want to meet their request. So rather than express needs or preferences themselves, they often arrange events and maneuver people to orchestrate the outcomes they desire. But as with most of these red flags, the efforts at control are often far subtler than outright abuse. Instead, a narcissist might have a way of making you feel nervous about approaching certain topics or sharing your own preferences. They make choices feel off limits without expressing any anger at all. Instead, maybe they'll give you a disapproving wink, or they'll give you a last-minute call to preempt your plans, or be chronically late whenever you're in charge of arranging a night together. Again, they arrange events behind the scenes to get what they want. For example, you might make plans to go out with your girlfriends on a Saturday night, and suddenly, the man you're dating has front row tickets to see your favorite band on the same night. They are effectively preempting the plans you might have made by planning to do something extravagant and presenting it as a surprise that they know you can't refuse. And this type of control happens gradually and subtly and slowly. Without ever realizing it, you fall into another person's plan, preferences, and desires. Another way they can gain control over their partners is by isolating them. Imposed isolation begins with your partner criticizing and questioning and making unwelcome your closest friends and social network. Abusers will try to make you feel guilty for wanting to spend time with friends and family. For example, a woman might avoid an evening out with her friends because she knows her partner is jealous and is afraid of his reaction afterward. To mask his jealousy, he'll flip the conversation towards questioning your motives for wanting a night out. The next 3 really get at the heart of what's happening behind the scenes with a narcissist, so make sure you keep watching because these are really important. Number 4, emotion dodging and emotional unavailability. As things progress and get more serious, we see new signs developing. And one is finding that your partner dodges emotions or is emotionally unavailable. See, deep down, narcissists are very insecure and have tremendous difficulties with feelings of vulnerability. As a result, they dodge and avoid any expressions of insecurity, fear, and hurt. They avoid showing their vulnerability at all costs and often change the subject when feelings come up, especially their own. Narcissists imagine themselves as perfectly self-sufficient and invulnerable to other people's behaviors and feelings, so they won't let you know when they feel unsure or hurt by something you've said or done. Instead, they lash out in anger combined with a show of superiority. They become condescending. They might even point out all the ways that you're lacking, and their main goal is to hide that you've affected how they feel. Some narcissists won't even admit to their anger and claim, "I'm not yelling," while they're in the middle of a tirade. That's how far they will go to avoid acknowledging emotion. Number 5, emotional projection. Because narcissists have difficulty coping with their own emotions, they often try to rid themselves of negative emotions by claiming or accusing others of having this very experience. Narcissists not only project their negative feelings on their partners, they actively coerce and stir up and convince their partners that they are experiencing that very feeling. For example, a narcissist may lash out and rage at their partner, accusing them of always being angry. Then they continue this tirade until their partner is angry. Narcissists also say and do things that make their partner question and doubt their attractiveness, their intelligence, their accomplishments, and competence. Doing so makes the narcissist feel like they can shine in comparison. Number 6, gaslighting. We all feel self-doubt sometimes, and that is why this form of emotional abuse is so effective and destructive. Sometimes an emotional abuser will deliberately lie to you to confuse you and make you doubt your perceptions. They will make you doubt your own observations and memory and sanity, or they will argue and wear you down until you don't trust what you know is true. And sometimes they will straight out deny what you just saw. Emotional abusers will attack your clarity, your ability to tell right from wrong, your intelligence, and your good sense. They will remind you of mistaken perceptions that you've had in the past or insist on how superior their own intelligence is. But the goal is always the same: to destabilize your sense of sanity, competence, and self-worth. None of these signs in isolation proves that you're with a narcissist. But if you see a lot of them, it's best to sit up and take notice. They're all a way of dodging vulnerability, and that's a narcissist's favorite tactic. Regardless of which signs they display, people who chronically avoid acknowledging feelings are incapable of deeper intimacy and true loving relationships. They're too internally preoccupied with their own fears or judgments to be able to genuinely share in a relationship. So if you're seeing multiple warning signs or a progressive pattern develop, you should be concerned. Be wise, trust your instincts, and protect yourself. If something doesn't sound or feel right, do what's best for you and keep yourself safe. And can they change? Maybe, but remember, the people you love can't change if they're unwilling to acknowledge their problems, whether they're drug addicts, alcoholics, or extreme narcissists. If they can't get past their denial and begin to recognize their unhealthy patterns, it might be best to just move on. I'd love to hear your examples of the ways that narcissists have snuck into your life. And how long did it take you before you realized that this relationship was like no other relationship before? Leave a comment below and let's start a discussion. And if you're interested in building great relationships so you can grow happy with the people you love, make sure that you've subscribed and turned on the bell notification so you aren't missing any of our new videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.